how do you see the budget 2023, right? We have got good response from almost everyone I have spoken to. So I want your assessment and your two thoughts on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a very good budget, very progressive. And if you look at it, today everybody is reeling under the inflation. And what FM has done is that with the slabs change, they have brought the money into the hands of a common man. And if you have the money in your hand, disposable income, which is meeting beyond the needs of your food, that will help to go out onto discretionary spending. Secondly, I think the 10 lakh crore capex, which is at least 4x of the 5 years back, which is phenomenal because this money is going to flow into the country, into the development of the economy, in your hand, my hand, and that will actually drive a significant economic development for all of us. And that again, once again, the money flows into the system, everybody benefits. So I think this is very, very good. And the real estate, which is again a large employer, if you see the increased outlay on the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, is again very attractive because this is one of the largest employment generator. The infrastructure development, the railway, quite happy with it.
And we are talking about data science driven decision making, and you're one of the person who actually utilizes in their day to day affairs. So could you give us some anecdote about how it has helped or transformed your decision making process?
No, absolutely. You see, I look at it, if you don't measure, you can't control. And if you don't control, then you can't have the situation to manage it better. So, therefore, I think data, today's world, it is very, very important because all of us are having so much of data, which to mine it, it will be very, very important that you get a good analysis, very fruitful, and then what is the perspective you want to look at it, you get that. Otherwise what happens is you will be drowned in the data and you will never come to know what is it actually you have to reach to a conclusion. Therefore it's very important to get very good quality analytics of the data done. And it's old saying, garbage in, garbage out. So one has to really see that what quality of data you're putting in and how are you dissecting, structuring it. But it should not be that you become slave to a data, because what is also important is you need to put your intelligence behind the data and interpret it and make a fast decision.
So basically, data backed by human element and gut feeling is what will help a company or an individual in the long run. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, you have to give a certain weightage to each of these things, but you can't say gut becomes 80% and data becomes 10%. So you have to have that feeling, the knowledge and the experience in order to really evaluate the data properly.
And lastly, sir, if you look at the global scenario, we are expecting some kind of recession in the US market, which may or may not have a huge impact on the Indian economy. What are your thoughts on that? And just adding to that, how do you how do you de-risk yourself from that kind of a shock?
No, absolutely. I think the recession, India itself is a very large economy today. We are not an economy 20 years back which had to always look out and then say, oh, how these guys are reacting and we react. Our own domestic consumption is so large. I think we can sustain ourselves in an extremely good manner. And I think that has been demonstrated in the last, if you see, 8 to 12 months when everybody is under trouble, growth is not there, we are coming out growth, we have the right kind of framework, environment, things are progressing. You look at the PLI framework, which is again going to bring capex, investment into the country, employment. So at the end of the day, this economy is running on its own in a decent manner. However, I would always say, when you're such a large economy, powerful economy, then what happens outside India also has a reflection to the Indian economy. But I think to a great extent, we feel it's a great time for India, and I think we can become really a significant economic powerhouse and economic growth can happen in this country.